Oh, it might fall. Oh no, it didn't. Hi guys. Okay, I have to be really quick. Sorry about the workout attire. Oh, text message. I had a story I was reminded while I was out jogging just now, and I have somewhere to be really soon, so I just want to get this down really quick. But this is such a good story, and it's something that I have really tried to do. So I want to read you a verse first. This is from Galatians. This is from Galatians 5. And so reading in verse 22, it says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law." And then skipping down to verse 25, it says, "Since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit." And so I was reminded kind of this passage and of this story, and it kind of made me chuckle. At the time, it wasn't funny, but it makes me chuckle now. But it's about my sweet sister, Rebecca. And so I have a lot of stories about Rebecca, and some of them are, this is kind of a lighthearted one, but let me explain Rebecca first. Rebecca is this pint-sized little powerhouse is what I would call her. She's like this tiny little person with this huge love for God, and she just leads, like she does that passage very well in Galatians. She has a very fruitful life, and I think it's because she lives a life that is so in step with the Spirit. Like, Rebecca is probably she's very free-spirited, and she's very spontaneous by nature, but then she turns around and she uses that to bless other people and to really point others to the Lord. And so she's just very different from anyone else I've ever met. And so I often say she's one of the friendships that I know is divinely placed in my life by God. And we don't talk every day. In fact, we'll go weeks without talking, and then all of a sudden we'll talk, and it'll just be a really Spirit-filled conversation, just very life-affirming, lots of truth, and it'll just be perfectly timed by the Lord. And so that's kind of Rebecca in a nutshell. And so there was this day about 5 or 6 years ago. I had been struggling with getting my thyroid regulated. I just discovered that I had a thyroid issue, and I was working with a doctor. I was changing my medication. Anyway, I was like on the 3rd or 4th round of changing my medicine, and you have to be on it for like a while, and then you have to go back and get retested. And during this time, your hormones are just like this. And so that's what I was living. I was just reacting in ways that were definitely not like myself, and really couldn't control it all that well. And so on this particular day, it was just like I had just reached the end of my rope. The end. And my sweet husband had decided to work from home that day, and his name is Sammy, and he's like steady as a rock. Nothing really shakes this guy. But on this particular day, coming off of like weeks of trying to regulate my hormones, I had reacted in a way just like throughout my normal day that finally it was just like, I mean, even I was like, who is this person? Who is this even talking? And I remember him looking at me, and he was just like, wow, like, what are we going to do? And I thought, oh my gosh, I've done it. I have shaken the unshakable Sammy. I mean, this is where we were. And so during this time, I mean, I'm just in tears. Everything either makes me cry or makes me mad, and there's not much operating in between these two poles right now. And during this time, my phone rang, and it was Rebecca, and I just ignored the call, because I don't know if you do this, but when I'm going through a hard time, I've gotten better now, but at the time, I would just pull away. I really felt like, no, you have to have it all together. Maybe I felt like it was weak. I don't know if I felt like, I'm not really sure why I do it or why I did it, but I would want to pull away. I would want to isolate. And so I was like, I'm not going to talk to Rebecca, and who knows what I'll say. And I'm just a mess, and nobody understands. And I was just not having it. And I had been kind of like that for a couple weeks, kind of pulling away from some of my girlfriends. And so a few hours later, the doorbell rings, and my husband goes to the door, and then all of a sudden I see Rebecca round the corner of my house, and she's got bags and bags and bags of Walmart sacks. And she's like, "Get up, come on." And she's just tiny, and she has this funny little Southern accent, and she's like, "Come on, honey, I know you're struggling." And I go in the kitchen and she gives me a hug and she starts unpacking this and she's like, I know you're ignoring my calls. And she goes right to the point and she's like, and that's okay. She's like, but I'm here to tell you that I know you're struggling because I was walking around Walmart today. I was doing my stuff. I had this, and this planned. And as I was walking around Walmart, I felt from the Holy Spirit that I was supposed to bring you dinner because you were struggling. And then as I was shopping, I saw this air pop popcorn and I thought, oh yeah, it reminded me of Holly, which I don't even know what that means. An air popcorn machine reminds her of me, but it was a wonderful gift. It was so funny. And she said, here's what you're going to do. First of all, it's okay not to be okay. Secondly, you're going to start answering your phone. Thirdly, these people are going to make a sandwich for dinner. I bought some dessert. Here's some chips. Y'all sit down and watch a movie and you pop this popcorn and you put your feet up. You're going to get through this and it's going to be okay. And I'm going to call you in the morning and I want you to answer the phone or I'll come back. And she hugged me and she said, I'm praying for you and it's okay. She said, we've all been there. Whether it was hormones or something else, we've all been there and it's okay not to be okay. And she left about as quickly as she came in. And I listened to her advice. I did exactly what she said. I still smile when I get that air popcorn machine out because it reminds me of my dear sister. But let me tell you, while I'm laughing at this story, it reminds me how important this verse is. Rebecca took the time. She could have felt that prompting from the Spirit and said, I'm too busy. I have this and I have this and I have this, but she never does. That is what's so great about Rebecca. She stopped what she was doing. She stopped her agenda and she listened to the Lord. And the Lord knew that I needed not to pull away. I needed someone who wasn't going to accept that as an answer and who was going to show up and who was going to take something off my plate, who was going to take down that wall and say, it's okay, take down that mask and say, you don't have to have it all together. And someone basically to call me on, to just come right out and confront me with it and say, I'm going to lock arms with you and I love you and we're okay. And that's beautiful. So it's kind of funny now because there's just this little pint-sized little Rebecca just coming in and taking over, but I love that about her. So I guess if you're me in this story, bring it out into the light. It's okay not to be okay. We are all there sometimes. Sometimes life is just a lot. Sometimes we're going through health stuff. Sometimes it's stuff with our marriages, stuff with our kids, stuff with our jobs, stuff we may not even know what it is. It's okay. Just take the mask down, go to your community, go to the Word. I was not only isolating from my community, I was isolating from the Lord. Don't do that. Go to prayer, go to the Word, answer your phone. And then if you're the Rebecca, thank you, and continue doing that. Live a life that can be interrupted from this by the Spirit. That's such a beautiful thing, to walk so closely in step with Him that you're so keenly aware of the needs around you. That's a beautiful thing. So anyway, just a story I wanted to share. You guys be sure and like and subscribe if you want to keep hearing more. Bye.